I didn't want to make an album about sadness and about death and about depression, and because I feel like I'm already synonymous with like darkness and I don't want to say negativity, but harsh realities. So me making a whole album about that was, I don't think I'm ready for that, and I'm still processing a lot of stuff. You know, I don't talk about this stuff. I don't talk about this at all. I get asked the same questions over and over and over and over and over and over, and I'm so tired of like making a song about pain and then they ask me, so how does this song make you feel? And it's like, I just fucking made a whole fucking song about it. Why you ask? I'll never forget I made a song about yams. You Are My Sunshine. Motherfucker asked me in an interview, so how did Yam's death affect you? The whole song is about how his death affected me. And from that day, I remember saying, oh no, there's something wrong here. You gotta control your narrative. And I feel like I don't talk about this stuff much. I keep my emotions to myself. People who are around me, they get a little vent every now and then, a ramble. But like, so for me, it was, I wanna answer questions that I know people are gonna ask me. And I wanna answer it in the most rawest form. So I don't ever feel guilty next time when I don't wanna give the real answer or I don't give a fuck. I came here today saying I'm just gonna talk and be who I am because this is for me to reveal, not for you to pull out of me. Everyone's biggest fear is to be in shame. Something like living up to what people's perception of you. You can never live up to someone, especially someone who thinks very highly of you. You really can't. It's not easy to talk to people like that. So if you do have anybody that could listen to you without giving you shame, you really are supposed to indulge in that person as much as possible. But it's crazy because you also don't want to give your burden too much to people, especially people that you love. My auntie Paulette, well, she says I can call her about anything, but my auntie Paulette's also recovering from breast cancer, a fighter. She beat that, and she goes through things in her life, and I don't want to call her and give her my burden because she done fought so hard to enjoy life that me in my head is like, this is my struggle. Don't give it to this person. And then I mess around and fucking talk to them about it, and it makes me feel better. And they tell me, yo, bro, you should talk to me about this. So it's like this little paradox, this dance that you do in your mind. I don't know if I'm speaking for myself or for you, but we do sometimes of like, I don't want to put my burden onto these people because I love them so much. And I feel like I got myself here. I got to get myself out of it. One thing that my father did give me is my name. He called me Meechy. He called me Meechy. He gave me that name. And outside of that, he gave me my confidence. He was a music man. He was big into mostly reggae music, though. I can't front. It was a lot of Sizzler, a lot of Capleton, Barris Hammond, Barrington Levy. Just like, that's what we really listened to. I want to say my father was legit my biggest fan on the planet Earth. Like, he was so proud. Like, not just of me, of Eric and Juice. He's like, you niggas doing it. Like, he was so fucking proud. He was like a Super Bowl dad or some shit like that. He was mad proud, bro. When he's at shows, he was so proud. And he would tell me that all the time. I know a lot of people don't get that with their parents, which is why I'm so grateful. Like, he told me how much he loved me. He told me how proud he was of me. He told me, yo, you're the chosen one. You're the one. He told me all of these things. So I can honestly say that, like, it wasn't a closeted love. It wasn't like I have to hear from a cousin or my uncle that he literally championed. You go on his Facebook right now, you'll see posts from the beginning still, like, he championed us, like, told everybody at his job about us, would wear my shirt, wear zombie shirts, and every chance he got, he was the biggest fan, like, was legit the biggest fan. My father was such a loved man, and I really mean this, like, he touched so much fucking people, bro. Like, he is a legend. My pops was a legend, bro. I don't care what nobody said. You ask anybody who fucked with him, they'll tell you that nigga was a legend. The community around my father was not aware of what was going on with him. Some people knew something was off or something was wrong. But once he got on his medicine and stabilized, I knew something was wrong because he wasn't himself. He still was, something was there, but the medicine, it dimmed his light. It made him sleepy and tired and lethargic and gaining weight and just, he's not fully there. And I understand why these people that suffer from that illness or any illness like that get into that battle of, I know everyone else thinks I'm good, but I don't feel good inside. He would take the medicine and be good, but it's fucking with him. It's really destroying him low-key. And they're not doing their job to find a perfect cocktail to help this man. is just take this medicine and go about your life until you delete and expire. That's essentially what they do. They're not really working on anything. And it got harder for him, and he probably psychologically told himself, yo, I'm better. I made myself better. I don't need this medicine. And he just decided he was just gonna stop taking that shit. He ain't want no parts of that shit no more. And part of me didn't blame him because he probably was more free than he's ever been, you know? But then it's like, at what cost? Now I lost you. We held him down though. My grandma literally held him the fuck down. My grandma moved him into the house and went to the hospital every single time there was an issue and he got something happen with him. She fought, like she literally fought. She don't play no games. Like I said, she gonna find out like, well, he weighs this amount of pounds and I Googled this and based off his weight, he's supposed to be served this dosage. She don't play none of that. She don't care if this home cooked food is not allowed in here. She's bringing the oxtail and rice. A song that we made called You and I, this is kind of why I don't really make songs like that anymore where I talk about very specific, or I wasn't even being specific in this song, but try to be too, I don't want to bear it all sometimes, you know, because sometimes people forget that when you make a song, you affect everyone around you. So if I say something about the way I was raised, my mother can take offense to that because she's like, boy, I raised you. You wasn't raised like that. And that's her perspective. And on this song, I mentioned Eric's mother, rest in peace. I mentioned her battle with diabetes. And I mentioned like, yo, if I could, I'd give you my kidney. And I talk about my relationship with Eric and Juice and all my friends. And I didn't specify my father's battle with bipolar schizophrenia or whatever they labeled him as. But I said, I never told you about my family, that bipolar disorder. And when my father heard that line, it really, 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 really bothered him. Like it fucked him up. And it fucked me up because I wasn't trying to do that. And I didn't specify him. And I remember he brought it up to my mother and she's like, were you really listening to him? He didn't say it was you. And one time I had to talk to him. I was with him one time and I had to show him this message of a fan saying, yo, Meechy, I didn't know you suffered from bipolar schizophrenia. And the fact that, you know, somebody I look up to does and they're doing this much with their life, it gives me hope. And he wasn't the only person that said that to me. So I never felt like it was right for me to correct that because I don't know maybe I do, I don't fucking know. I've never been diagnosed, but I never felt it was right for me to correct that. But also, I thought I was slick by not saying his name. He can't get mad at it, but he knows it's about him. And I think that really like, I won't say that fucked up our relationship a little bit, but I think that's one thing that made him a little disappointed in me. And there's no worse feeling than like disappointing your loved one with something that you had no intention. It's like your most purest form. And it's like when you're being your most purest self and you let people down, it's like, that's the most fucked up feeling ever. Not when you know you bugging out. It's when you literally were like, I was not trying to hurt. I was trying to heal myself, bro. And I have to show him, yo, these people think it's me that's suffering from that. And I'm not gonna even correct them because that's not important. If this is what's helping other people, like, let's move forth, let's move past that. But I know he forgave me, but he never forgot, you know? When it comes to shit like that bipolar schizophrenia, bro, you hear people say things to you that you never, like I've been told things that I hope no one ever gets told from anybody that they love. From like, you're not my son, from like, you're a demon, from all the shit you could fucking imagine. But you gotta roll with the punches, bro. And decide if you really want to ride with this person for the rest of their time being or your time being, or if you're gonna give up. And just know that if you do take your feet off the fucking gas for a second or hop out the car, that there's no telling what could happen. You're gonna feel really, really bad. The story is so crazy. My godfather, he's a detective in Miami, and I actually told him what was going on with my father maybe 3 months before my father passed. I was like, yo, I don't know if you really know what's going on, but this has been going on for a long time now. And I literally felt so fucking bad. Like I betrayed my pops, bro. I told his friend about his illness and like that's not my job to do. And it's one of the greatest things I did because when my father was killed, the person that identified his body was my godfather. Out of randomly. Just what's the chances of my father being a New York, Brooklyn native, going to Miami, end up having whatever episode he ends up having, cops shoot him 30 whatever something times, and my godfather is on the phone with the person identifying his body saying, yo, does he have a tattoo of Jamaica on his shoulder? Yeah, how do you know that? Yo, that's my best friend growing up. I get a call and I see my godfather calls me and I'm just like, it ain't gonna be good. I knew it. And I hear in his voice before he says it, and I don't wanna say I knew that was gonna happen, but with everything that was happening in the world, it was inevitable, you know, a black man outside alone with no help. So my father was homeless when he died, but it's not because I didn't love him, it's because how do you can't have logical, structural conversations and plans with people that aren't structured and logical. Crazy things turn you crazy. Like literally. I wanted my father to live with me, but it was impossible, bro. My father would think that I have a demon in me at some point. There was times when my father would call me. Like, you know how crazy that is? A nigga, that's some shit to deal with. And that was like some shit I had to deal with, and that turned me crazy. There's been times where I've said things to my pops that I wish if I can go back, and I have the audio of it, that's what hurts the most. If I can go back, I would try my best not to say it, but he got me so, I was so ignorant to mental illness and like understanding, bro, I gotta just roll with the punches, bro. When a nigga tells you like you were the living embodiment of all my sins, and like when it gets poetic and all that kind of shit, it kind of fucks with you. When your father tells you crazy shit, it kind of fucks with your head. And it puts you in this survival mode. And it's like, I'm a man of pride. You're not gonna ever talk to me like that. I don't care who it is. Not even my father gonna talk to me like that. We end up saying crazy shit to each other that you should never say to your father, and a father should never say to a son. But his excuse is that his brain wasn't right. What's my excuse? So that's what I deal with almost every day. I have the most regret ever. You know, my last words to my father wasn't beautiful words, you know? It was threats on his life. It was ridicules. It was us going back and forth because I was just down bad, bro. I was at the bottom. And when I didn't help him the way he wanted to get help, it was like, I'm the worst. You feel me? Like the worst ever. If I gave my father all the money he needed, it would have been gone. If I put him on a stipend, he's like, you treated me like some lackey. You treated me like, if I tell him, fuck it, I'm not giving you anything, and abandon him, we get what we ended up getting. And it's like, what am I supposed to do in this situation? I really don't know what to do. I've tried all three. I did. But the third one, the last one, is the one that led to, and I'm not taking the blame for my father's death by any means, because it's never one action, but I do think I was way too cold and way too hard on him when I decided not to talk to him for a while. Because if I was talking to him, you know, I feel like he would have been in a better place. And yeah, I think my phone call that day could have changed his life. I fully agree with that. And I'm not the only person in my family that probably feels like they fucked up or know they fucked up. It's just, I don't know much kids that can say that they feel like they like have some direct responsibility for the death of their parents, you know? You're supposed to look out, you know? Yeah. That was my best friend, so I tapped out. But you learn lessons. So like, I'll never quit on a friend again. I'll never quit on myself. But that's something that was rough. Because when I asked for advice, a lot of people were like, yo, live your life, do what you gotta do for yourself. That was the worst fucking advice anybody ever gave me. Like the worst, because that ruined my family's life. So, yeah. It's funny, if I monetized my pain, I would have got a lot further. Maybe when I'm 10 years from now, I'm gonna say, God damn it, Meechy, you were at your most sensitive artistic point right here. You should have made an album like this, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right selling my pain before I could even figure out what my pain is. I'm not trying to figure it out with you guys. I gotta figure it out here first. And I think artists do that too much. You know, we give a lot and give. You gotta give yourself some time. I gave myself a lot of space. You gotta, as an artist, you gotta control your psyche and take care of your mental, man, because that's all we got. Like literally, that's our everything. So making an album was like a dance, because it was like, I don't want to make this my journal because I don't think I'm ready to. The last thing I want to do is record a whole album and then tell everybody, I'm sorry. I would like for somebody to listen to my album and then I tell them what I've been through. They're like, wait, you did all of that while you were going through that? That's what I want it to be. I don't want someone to listen to it and feel sorry for me, you know? That's why I didn't label the name of the fucking album something sad, or the original name for the album was gonna be Cursed, you know? And I was like, I don't want to put that on myself. That word is too powerful. I already feel it. Why would I put that on myself? And that was a struggle, really, just trying to make sure I don't dampen the mood, you know, because I will tell that story. I just I'm still processing everything, and I want to make sure that when I do tell it, it's with detail and with intent. That's probably the most important thing, I think, for artists in general. And for this album, I feel like with what I went through, everyone is expecting something that's gonna talk all about my pain and all about everything I've been through. And I think that's kind of sad, you know, honestly. That's not fair to artists, because if Marvin Gaye survived getting shot by his father, I wouldn't want him to make an album about getting shot by his father directly after, because that's not fair for him to live through that for my entertainment and my gratification. And I feel like artists get put in this weird spot where we're in the music business, but we're artists. So you gotta be business and artists, and you have to fill this algorithm, and then you have fans, and you have loved ones, and there's so much people you're trying to please within pleasing yourself. And it's like, you don't ever wanna get lost in that weird spot where it's like, am I really making this for me? Am I making this because I feel like I'm supposed to? And the last thing I'm gonna ever do is monetize my pain for the sake of monetizing my pain. I went through one of the most darkest negative things you can possibly go through, and I refuse to use that to catapult anything for my career. My father's not a victim. My family, we're not victims. Tragedy happened to us. Something tragic happened, but we're not victims. And I'm not refused to be a victim. And I'm not gonna use that to sell records, because that's not fair to me or my family. And more artists need to understand that, like, just because you're going through this doesn't mean you have to share this, and your next rollout has to be, that's not how it doesn't need to be like that. Live your fucking life and do what's right for your spirit and yourself as an artist. Because at the end of the day, I think like the most important thing for artists like me is to keep our integrity. They're trying to take that shit away from you. And people don't even realize they're doing it when they're asking shit from you. I would never, nigga, in a million years, nigga, Basquiat was my cousin. I'm not asking that nigga, can you paint this for me? You're the vessel, you paint and give to me. That's what I give to you. And you give me back energy. I take that energy and give more, and it's a back and forth. You can leave for a little bit. I would love for you to not, but that's what this is supposed to be. And I feel like artists feel like we have this service, and the service is to ourselves also. The service is not just to the label, it's not just to the followers, it's to yourself. And we gotta do that more and take care of ourselves more, because we suffer, artists be suffering, bro, and in silence. That's why these motherfuckers be dying off of random shit or be depressed. And yeah, as a listener, as a consumer, as a friend of an artist, as a whatever you may be, an artist yourself, just keep that in mind whenever you listen to someone's project or you see someone's painting or, you know, Kanye's new sneaker, and you're like, oh, fuck, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what the nigga's going through. He's an artist. He's not entitled to do anything that you asked him to do because it's a trade and we're feeding each other. And that's how everything in life is supposed to be. A marriage. We're symbiotic with each other. And like, my biggest goal was to make sure Gothic Luxury wasn't listen to me cry. I didn't want this album to be hear my pain. I wanted this album to be follow me while I figure this out.